All right, so I would like to, first of all, say thank you both for joining me this evening.
No problem.
Post an audition. Welcome to the very first podcast of the Voices Here podcast. I know I originally said I wanted to do it with you, Dad, but I figure since this is my very first podcast and I'm telling the story of me, and for those people out there just getting introduced to me, I thought it might be cool to actually kick off the podcast with the two people who created me, since I get a lot of questions from around the world about, like, how did I get to be the person that I am? It would be cool to start it with where I started. And I started with this lovely woman, my mother, Zardis Nichols, and this lovely man, my father, Lance E. Nichols. And we just did what I do a lot with my dad. We taped a video audition, and now we're sitting down and
I was in that audition too.
yeah. I just said we
She
just
said
did
we. She did say we.
what I do a lot of times. I tape my dad,
I just
but my
want
mother was
propers.
included.
Give me
Give
my
her her
propers.
propers. Yes, she's got her propers, okay? She was part of that audition. So we're going to sit down and have some Thai food, lovely Thai food, courtesy of Budsies Authentic Thai. Shout out to Mina Sek of Beats and Time for introducing me to Budsies. Butsaba makes great authentic Thai food,
Very
hence
good.
the name. My pops got veggie pad Thai
Correct. With tofu.
with tofu, and I got the veggie pad see with tofu. Mom's brought some lovely peach wine from where, Ma?
Some vineyard in
Homestead, Florida.
Homestead, Florida.
Okay. Is it the one that Indigo and Jarrell told y'all about?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so I'll make sure to drop in for those watching on YouTube what those venues are, because I like to promote nice things, quality things. So with that being said, Dad, feel free to dig in. I have recently revamped my diet, so I will be eating sparingly, but I'm on water instead of that lovely peach wine, because why get up that early in the morning if it has no positive effect?
That's my motto.
Yeah, pretty much. Vanity can be a great motivator, but really it's more like I'm in the zone now. So for me, my weakness is sugar. Wines have sugar. Let's get started. What should we I'm new to this world of podcasting. Ori says it's a good idea because I have interesting things to say. So for me personally, I think what comes to mind when I think of you guys is teamwork and partnership. I think that you guys have modeled for me a really good example of how teams work. So if I could hear in your own words where you think each other's strengths and weaknesses are in y'all team dynamic, and how that has helped you guys as a couple or how it has hindered you guys as a couple over the years.
Well, I don't think it hindered us. I think we just kind of fell into it naturally. Say, for instance, I hate grocery shopping. He loves grocery shopping. So that worked out really well because, I mean, I don't even go to the grocery store anymore.
We know.
When I do go to the grocery store, let me put it to you this way. I paid $89 for 4 avocados and just like a half a bag of stuff at Whole Foods. And I remember walking out of the door saying, damn, Whole Foods really is expensive.
You didn't know that?
No, I haven't been to the store in so long.
Oh, gotcha.
And when
So when I got home, I called him because he was out of town. That's the only time you see me in the grocery store. And I called him and I told him, I said, man, Whole Foods. I said, I see why they call it whole paycheck. I said, I barely got it. It's almost $100. And he said, what'd you get? And he said, something's wrong. So I looked at the receipt. They had charged me for 70 avocados instead of 4. Of course, they gave me my money back.
That, Ma?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you're that. That's like Ori. So Yusef is my more utilitarian son, right? Mm-hmm. Ori is my more techie son. So Yusef, he's the one who puts the grocery list together. He's the one who can zip through the grocery store. They're both good at, like, cross-checking prices and stuff like that.
That's
but
good.
Yusef knows brands, what brands we use. He knows, like, what weight,
Yeah.
Good point. We came home maybe like a month ago when we grocery shopped, Ori put the cinnamon rolls, the little canned cinnamon rolls, in the freezer. Because Ori does not know anything about where things go in the house.
Oh, Ori better learn.
Exactly, because he's always on his way out. But then this last grocery trip,
he put the biscuits in the freezer.
this last one,
That would have been a disaster.
no, this last time, he put the cinnamon rolls in the pantry.
Oh, that's even worse.
I found it the next day, and I was like, who? Oh, I know who did this. Look at Ori looking proud over there. So yeah, okay, so you were saying? I know you forgot.
Well, let's put it this way. It's so rare when your mom does go to Whole Foods
Uh-huh.
that the first thing he says, where Mr. Lance?
No, they know now
Well, they
that
know
if they
you.
see me, he must be out of town.
Oh, that
You
he's
know,
working on a project.
yeah.
Well, shout out to Whole Foods, by the way, because they hold y'all down. And if y'all really knew how much this man invests in y'all on a personal level, you might want to rock with him on like hooking a brother up with a little Whole Foods, love. He's out here promoting y'all gospel in these streets.
It's like a
right.
club for him.
Yeah, it is.
He's there. Let me put it to you this way. When he leaves Whole Foods, the people that work there, they say, see you tomorrow.
Yeah, they know.
And they're not joking. They know they're going to see him the next day.
I know. I worked at a health food grocery store in my early 20s.
Oh, yeah, so you
Shout
know
out
the
Erewhon. And this is what I try to tell him. As much as they're sweet to you, they don't want to be seeing you every day, bruh. I remember working at the store and being like, why is this man? I mean, it might be different with you because you like a
He's
little bit of
very
a celebrity.
charming and- yeah.
But when you work at a grocery store, you definitely question in the back of your mind why somebody, like you learn that somebody shows up every day because it's a social thing and not a necessity thing. And I used to have a guy who would come and stand by the checkout and just talk with me for like 30, 40 minutes. Are you that guy, Dad?
Oh, no.
Okay. In and out?
In and out.
Okay.
So then another way that we compliment each other is that he does not like to clean.
No.
Hey, Dad.
So I'll take on that role of,
Yeah.
doing the cleaning.
Yeah, you will.
I mean, he'll put the dishes in the dishwasher.
I'll wash
but
clothes.
He'll wash
He
clothes.
washes clothes, but I can't recall. Yeah, I saw him mop not too long ago because I'm like, I've never seen you with a mop in your hand. So he attempted to mop, but it was a disaster.
Really?
Yeah, I had to end up mopping it. I had to end up mopping behind him because
Why?
he didn't know what he was doing. He had no clue. Just like I was in the grocery store,
Yeah.
he was with the mop. I don't know what he was doing.
Well, shout out to my kids because they definitely wash clothes better than me.
Yeah. Well, I know how you wash clothes.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Don't put me on blast.
No, I know how you wash clothes.
I clean the tub now. I do clean the tub.
Yes, I remember.
But I
I
do
remember
suck
when you
at
used to
washing
use
clothes.
black soap.
Yeah,
And
the
you
worst.
could see the butt imprint in blackness
Shout out black soap.
on the bottom of the tub.
I like stuff that's good for your skin.
Yeah, me too. But I don't like stuff that stains the tub.
I know, it's
You know,
true.
your
Or
mom
hair.
Your mom doesn't like to drive, so I'm the chauffeur.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are.
I mean, I don't dislike driving,
Whatever,
but as
Mom.
long as I have him, why should I?
And speaking of driving, Dad, how many times have you drove Miss Daisy? I'm just curious.
Let's see. How many times have I driven this day?
Yeah, how long have...
Too numerous to count. But
Excuse me.
he likes to say that he got practice with me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, 'cause-
Oh, I hope you ain't some old racist white lady
No,
who needs
no,
her
no.
life turned
No,
around.
but listen,
Bless you. Them Thai peppers getting
Yeah,
to
they
you,
got
huh?
to me.
Listen, Troy's boy, remember Ducky?
Yeah.
Ducky, one time we were in California, we went over to visit Troy, and Ducky said, do you drive? I'm like, yeah, I drive. He said, I've never seen you drive. I said, well, that's because I got him.
Yeah. It's
So
the truth.
it works out. It just seems to have worked out naturally over the years that the things he doesn't like doing, I don't mind doing, and vice versa. So, when you've been together as long as we have, we've been together 40 years, things just kind of naturally fall into place. He knows what I don't like doing, but we're so opposite in a lot of ways. It's like when we go out, I hate it.
Yeah.
I really hate it because he likes me to just, even if we're just going to have dinner or a drink, it's like, okay, we're going to be leaving at 8:12.2.
Who does that sound like?
8:12
Leaving at 8:12.2. Shout out to genetics.
Yeah,
Sounds like my oldest son,
I always feel
Ori.
stressed out, and even though, like if we're
I
going...
should show you the text he sent me.
Who?
Your husband. At, 5:06?
Yeah, show it to her.
It's pretty... Well, we're using my phone to film, but it was like 5:06.
It said,
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Of course,
Yes.
I'm waiting on you-know-who.
Of course,
Yeah.
and so it's
And
like,
it was okay because I wasn't ready. I was
that's
sweeping
what
my
I'm saying.
house.
It's like,
all good.
it's our daughter. But if we go to a play or something like that, that's required for us to be there at a specific time, I'm always ready.
No, that's not true.
That is true.
No, it's not.
What are you talking
The
about?
last play we went to see, I actually was waiting on you.
But did the play start?
Does it matter?
Yeah, it does. As long as I'm there when curtain, I'm there. I'm just very lax about that.
I'm like the last. Not only was I waiting
And our
on you,
seats were
if you
assigned.
remember, I bought drinks. I had all of that ready to go when you got
but
there.
our seats were assigned, so there was no reason for me to be there at such and such on the dot.
No, your seats are assigned, Mom, but if you get there late, you're still
We
putting
didn't
your
get there
ass in
late.
front of people's
We weren't
places.
there late. The people were still milling about the lobby.
Yeah.
You
don't win an argument with this lady, so don't even
You
try.
win an argument. I'll be the first to admit when I'm wrong about something.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Oh, please.
Please.
Y'all you over there shaking your head too? Okay. Well, say what you want.
Or
We
say
love
what
you,
we
but you
know.
know it's
Yeah, like,
true.
let's be
It's
real.
true.
I've never heard you say,
Oh, please.
I'm sorry.
Please.
No.
Many times I walked with my tail between my legs.
Is that
Many
saying
times.
sorry?
That's a
though?
different
Yes.
thing. Oh, that's saying sorry?
It is.
Yeah. He comes from a line of passive aggressive people. But yeah, we assume certain roles and that's why teamwork comes out of it. If I see where he's weaker in something than I am, I'll just kick in and vice versa. It's just a natural thing. When you've been with someone as many years as we have, everything just seems to fall into place, right?
It does. And it really comes into play when you're doing your shows. Because I have...
Wait, I want to get her.
Because I
already know.
I have certain responsibilities. Voice has certain responsibilities. And you have certain responsibilities. And we're all good. Responsibilities. And we're all good at doing what we do. But sometimes you feel the need to try to do our job too. Yes,
She's
exactly.
a Capricorn. That's what they do.
It's my show, so everything has to be the way I want it to be. I'm just serious. There's things. That's how things
Can
work
you be
for
arrested
me.
for assaulting someone with a fork? Because
But
No,
tofu, no, you're
I'm
right.
very methodical in everything that I do, and so I have to have things a certain way when I do them, because it makes things go smoother for me. He calls it micromanaging, but things still happen, like the last show, I was supposed to be handed the mic as I walk off. Somebody's supposed to announce that it was intermission. So I just sang this deep emotional song, right?
Yeah.
Blue. And as I'm walking off, I'm like, okay, is anybody? So finally I had to say, we'll be back in 15 minutes. It's like, what the fuck? Why am I saying this? Somebody else is supposed to say that, So, I mean, it's just little things. But each time we do something, we learn from the mistakes of the last time.
Yeah.
And each time it gets smoother and smoother. The very first show that I remember him.
Are you talking about when he sent my ex-husband up
Right,
to the stage?
right. I remember I'm on the stage singing. I see this figure moving through the dark audience.
Coming to
And then I see it coming up the stairs of the stage, and I'm thinking, it took me out of my
Reed,
game.
do you know about this? No. Grammy had a show back in L.A. years ago. This
Yeah,
is
at the Jazz
This was
Bakery.
like when I was in high school, I think.
Right, yeah.
And they hired your dad to come on
he was
stage.
dressed as a waiter.
during the show
Mm-hmm.
and bring her a drink, right?
There was a song by Julie Christie called "Something Cool," and in the song, she's talking about having a cool drink with a stranger.
Yeah.
You know, blah blah. So for dramatic effect, which you know I always have to have, I hired a skier to be the waitress to come and bring
Not
me.
only did you hire him, if you recall, I'm going to just remind you, his vision came to you in a meditation that he was supposed to be the person to come and hand you this drink.
Right.
You're like, I saw chocolate skin. It's like, oh, it's Skia.
Yes.
Okay,
And
so
so a skier comes up with a tray with a glass of wine. It wasn't really wine. It was actually tea for my throat, but it was in a wine glass. And so I'm singing the song, and I see this figure, and I'm trying to focus on the song, but I'm like, what's happening here? Who's this moving in the audience, coming up on the stage? And I turn around, and I see it's your dad, a skier, with a drink.
God, we really shouted him out in this episode, huh?
Well, I'm just saying. And so I took the drink from him, you know, gave him a nice smile and a nod, and come to find out, your dad sent him up there too soon.
I cued him too soon.
No, come to find out, these two are going back and forth out in the audience because he's insisting Skia goes, he's like, no, it's not now.
Yeah, right.
And finally he just shoves him.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, fine. And he walks up there. And I'm just like, these two, oh my gosh. But the show was great.
I'm meticulous in that way, you know.
I know, Ma.
Yeah, if I'm doing that and for you and you want it a specific way, I'm gonna, whether I agree with it or not, I'll do it exactly like you want it done.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that doesn't always happen, but I'm always grateful because he does so much, you know, for me when I'm doing the show.
Oh, yeah.
And he probably has so much on his mind at the time. You know, we try to save money by not having to hire someone for everything.
Yeah, well, I can say just from being an artist myself, producing shows myself, it is amazing to see what can be pulled off with proper help.
Yeah,
and I always find it super sweet when I see it happen from a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it's nice to see it on the production side when you do shows or when y'all do workshops or whatever it is, and then to see that same unspoken thing as a thread throughout y'all marriage also. And it gives me a modeling for not like, you know, I think a lot of people, they might be buying into this idea of perfection in a relationship. And I feel like I always grew up with this very realistic, you know, before reality TV.
Yeah.
I got to see like the dynamics of what love looks like in real time with people.
Including the fights.
Oh yeah, including the fights. But you guys were always like super straight up about like, we're not perfect. I'm like, no shit.
I always told you
No
that.
shit.
You know why I told you that?
I mean, I know why contextually you told me that based on your family experience.
Right.
But you have to understand that I mean, you know me. I'm a very observant person.
Right.
You weren't telling me something I didn't
you
know.
You remember what you told me?
No, go ahead, because this is the fifth out of the 6 stories you tell.
So you don't know the story?
I do know the story.
Well, then why'd you say no?
Go ahead, share it with the world. Because if I bring you back on for 5 more episodes, they'll hear all the stories.
And you are starting to be the same way.
I know. Actually, Ori was just telling me that, and I was laughing about it.
It happened. You always did have a point.
Facts.
And a comeback.
Yeah, always had a
And a comeback.
I've always had a comeback, really?
Oh, yeah.
Like a little mouth on me?
Yeah,
It wasn't disrespectful.
No.
You always, you know, that's what I liked about my kids because, see, when I was a kid, I had a lot. I had opinions, but I was taught kids are to be seen, not heard.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I never was able to, and if you did, growing up in the South, it was almost like maybe you're speaking, you know, adults, you don't join an adult conversation but I always knew that I had opinions.
Gotcha.
And I always knew that I had thoughts about certain things, but I was not allowed to express those thoughts because I was a kid. And that's why I always said, when I had kids, I was going to let you guys be who you are, let you express yourself freely, because I always believe that kids had something to say or something to add.
But you were very good at expressing yourself in your writing.
Yeah.
Because as a maybe 4 or 5 year old, she was writing this word around all over the place where she lived.
Oh, shut up.
And showing it to everybody very proudly, including one woman who was a very religious woman from what?
Devout Catholic.
Devout Catholic.
They're my favorite.
And
Miss Honoré.
Yeah, care to tell that story? Shall I tell it?
Well, I learned to write.
Oh, that's story number
I
2.
don't know. I didn't bring it up though. He did. Anyway, I was writing this word that I learned, and Miss Honoré, on her way home, I used to always be outside with believe it or not, with my sticks.
Oh, that's
talking with my my imaginary friends. And Miss Honoré came home one day, and as she was walking up, I said, Miss Honoré, look, I wrote a word. She's like, oh, you did? What word did you write? Let me see. And she came over there and she let out this like, ah! The word was P-U-S-S-Y.
Yeah.
And I was writing I was writing the word everywhere.
All over the place.
You were bombing all over the Lafitte project.
All over, in the hallway, everything.
On the sidewalk, in the hallways. God. And I didn't know what the word meant. I just knew, I hadn't even started school yet. And one day I remember I was playing again by myself, and I heard the adults talking. They were saying, we got to find out who's going around writing this word everywhere. I was writing it everywhere. So,
but you told Miss Honoré.
That was at the end.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and so that's when I realized that wasn't a good word.
Yeah, that's a great word to write.
So then I just went over to being very, very smart. Oh. And I learned how to spell encyclopedia. So I was 4, and I would go spell encyclopedia to everybody. I know how to spell encyclopedia. I was so proud of myself because it was a long word.
And we're talking about a little black girl in New Orleans in 1959.
No.
Yeah. You said you were 4. Like, that's crazy. Well, how did you become an avid reader? Granny read?
My mom was an avid writer.
Oh, okay.
She used to be
her handwriting was great. I remember that.
She used to be the speaker at different events, and I always admired that.
The orator.
I don't think I heard that story from your mom. Used to be a speaker at different events.
Yeah, these are like different churches. She'd be a speaker, or different events. She would be the speaker for the event, and she used to write her own speeches and stuff. So I think I kind of got fascinated with that as a child, because I thought that was pretty cool.
Do you know what her highest level of education was?
She finished high school.
She did?
Yeah, she finished high school.
And then there just wasn't much options for her here in the South, or?
I can't say that it was the South. I think it was more the community.
Oh, gotcha.
It's like,
because your parents, but they didn't grow up here, right?
No, my dad moved here when he was 18, but he grew up in Canton, Mississippi.
Okay, and then where did Grandma Nita grow up?
Omaha, Nebraska.
She was in Nebraska?
Yeah, and then they went and stayed with a family. I don't know where that was, though.
Okay.
It was on the East Coast somewhere.
No, I think it was in the Midwest.
Oh, it was?
And then at some point, because she was very young when her mother died.
Okay.
And so it was her, a sister, and 2 brothers, and they split the family up after the mother died. My grandfather kept the boys, and my mom and my aunt went to stay with some family for a little while. And then at some point, my grandfather sent for them to come to here.
Gotcha.
Oh, your grandfather was here?
Yeah, he was teaching. He was teaching a math teacher, I think, at a university.
Oh, okay.
So he was an academic.
Yes, he was. He was a genius, from what I understand.
Oh, really?
Math, yes.
Oh, okay.
The only thing I remember about that grandfather is when I was 5 years old, we went to California.
He don't have many.
Oakland.
You got 6 and he has none.
And I locked him in the bathroom.
Why?
I don't know. Sounds like Yusef. Right.
Yeah. Just a minute.
I'm coming.
And he called me a little nut. That's what I was.
Really?
That little nut locked me in the bathroom.
That's pretty funny. So you guys are both from here, New Orleans. We're taping this here in New Orleans. in my home in the 7th ward.
Sixth.
This is the 7th.
Really?
Yeah, the map might have changed since you grew up, but this is the 7th. My mom is from the 6th ward, Treme, for those of you who used to follow the show on HBO. My dad is from the 12th ward, which is uptown. But he was on the show Treme, if you did watch the show. I did not give you this backstory. My father is a veteran character actor. And you heard us discussing the production value of my mom's shows. My mom is a classically trained jazz chanteuse. There you go. So they both grew up here in New Orleans, but me and my sisters grew up in L.A.
You were actually born there.
Well, yeah, we were all born and raised majority of the time in LA. So you're both from here, but how did we as a family, how did my origin happen in LA? Without, hey, first of all, spare my audience all the details. I just need like the top layer.
You want the PG version?
I just, yeah, please, okay. No, yeah, I want the PG version.
PG version.
But yeah, so, just how did y'all link up?
All right, so early on when I lived in LA, I used to drive a taxi at night.
Well, how did you get to LA? And let's start there.
I graduated from UNO in 1977 with a degree in drama communication.
And UNO is what, for those who don't
University of New Orleans.
Okay.
And I stuck around here about a year, and then I realized if I was serious about pursuing my career as an actor, I needed to move either to New York or LA. I had a sister who lived in LA, and so I moved to Los Angeles in 1978. Sometime around 1979, I started driving a taxi in LA at night. And in 1980, one night on a Sunday night, I have a sweet tooth, so I thought I'd
you talked about that, yeah.
Sweet tooth, still there.
And I pulled into this parking lot where this Baskin Robbins is, and of course, Baskin Robbins has a plate glass window, so you can look right in.
Yeah, it's kind of like mini mall style, but
it was a.
I'm trying to explain for strip mall. So it's a strip mall with glass windows.
It was a Baskin Robbins, a bar, and like a mini mart next to it.
Well, no, there was another business, and the mini mart was
on the end.
Liquor store.
Yeah, liquor store, right
on the end.
So I pulled in to park, but there was no parking spot to my right. But when I looked to my left, all I could see was this voluptuous butt. I didn't know what it was attached to, but I said, I'm sure I'm going to find out. So I came out of the parking lot, circled around the block. I knew I didn't stop at one stop sign, and I was praying, please let that butt be back.
Still there,
yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm.
So when I pulled back into the parking lot, it was still there, but now it was in the front of the line.
The butt
was still there. But now the butt was in the front of the line. So I parked the car and I walked in and I sort of walked up and stood. I think I was parallel to the left of you, right?
Yeah.
And I was kind of looking out the
corner of my side eyeing her.
Yeah.
And for those of y'all listening, let me tell you, this is where my mom is a G. Because what did you do, Ma?
Well,
what's your perspective? Because I like the flip side of this story.
All right, but I'm standing in the. First of all, I was supposed to have ice cream earlier in the day. I took my nieces and nephews out to your Uncle AJ's house.
Okay.
And they all asked if they could use my car to go to the mall. And I said, okay, good, because this was a Sunday night, and that was Riverside.
Uh-huh.
And I had to drive back to L.A.
Ooh.
So I said, okay, you can go. I said, but bring me some ice cream back.
Uh-huh.
And I guess I ate a lot of ice cream those days. Well, I was like 106 pounds.
Yeah.
So anyway, they were gone way longer than they said they were going to be gone. Mm-hmm. And they came back, and I'm like, well, at least they're bringing my ice cream. They came back. I said, where's the ice cream? Ice cream. Oh, damn, we forgot. So I'm like, okay, look, we got to go. I got to get back. I got to go to work in the morning, blah, blah, blah. So during that time, I used to eat at Baskin Robbins. I used to eat banana split with everything on it. And I'm driving. I dropped them off, Troy and Kip. I dropped them off at home. So then I have to drive now to the Wilshire district where I was living. They lived in South Central. Mm-hmm. So by this time, it was a little bit after 10. And I'm driving home, and I'm thinking about Baskin. I'm like, oh, they're probably closed.
Because I think they close,
close at 10.
Yeah, on Sunday
So
nights.
I'm like, oh, it's after 10. So I'm driving past Baskin Robbins, and I see a bunch of people in there. You know, I see them still in line.
Wait, so this is at nighttime?
Oh, it's at night.
Nighttime.
It's a
Oh,
Sunday
in my
night.
mind, I've always pictured this
No,
happening during
this
the
is
day.
Sunday night.
That's how you saw the butt.
Yeah.
This is
'Cause I'm
nighttime.
like, during the day, there's like light glare on
No.
glass.
It was like, seeing that butt was like a Las Vegas sign.
She was
I mean,
eating
it was-
ice cream.
Yeah,
It's
so
that ice cream butt.
anyway, I was driving down the street, and I looked over and I saw people in there, and I'm like, the door's probably locked. So I kept going, and when I got to the middle of the next block, something said, turn around and go back. So I'm like, Skirch! And I made a U-E right there in the middle of the street to go back, and I went in, and the door opened, so I was like, oh. So I'm ready to have my banana split before I go to bed. So I'm standing in
healthy.
line. Yeah, I know. You know, in those days,
I know.
you didn't care about health.
Yeah.
You felt like you had your whole life ahead of you. So anyway, I'm standing in line at Baskin Robbins, and it's all plate glass all around. So I see this taxi pull into the parking lot, but all I saw was the side of the left side of his face, because he was looking to see if there were any spots, and I was like, ooh, he's cute. I didn't even see his face, you know. I was like, ooh, but I didn't think anything of it, because like there was a bar next door.
Yeah.
I think you thought I was going to the bar,
I thought
right?
he was going to any.
To pick
I
up
didn't think he
somebody.
was coming in there.
You thought he was working.
Yeah.
I
And
was
so
working.
I'm there looking like, okay, well, he's probably going somewhere else. Then a few seconds later, because they still hadn't locked the door, I think
Yeah.
they were so busy, they didn't get
They
a
just
chance to
get
lock
to
the
the
door.
door.
Right. I heard the
bell, yeah.
And I turned around, and it was him. And I'm like, oh, he's coming in here. You know, so I started like getting myself all ready and stuff, you know. So I was the last person in line. So he gets in line behind me, and because of the plate glass window, we're facing the window.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing everything that he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, and I see him prancing back and forth, like nervously, like trying to think of something to say. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. He's trying to
He's
think of something
nervous.
to say. He didn't know I
Yeah.
could see him. And so finally, I was at the front of the line by then.
Right.
And so then I put on my deepest voice and said, what will you have? I said, I'll have a banana split with everything on it, please. You know, just trying
I thought it was with extra nuts.
No, with everything.
Oh, with everything?
Yeah, with everything on it. And so,
What did you think when
So
you heard
after
her
she
voice?
said that, I'm
what did you
like,
think of my voice when I said
I'm
that?
like, oh shit. The butt, the looks, and the voice? Boy, the trifecta. So then I'm watching what she's getting, and then I said, oh, little lady like you can eat all of that?
That's not what you said.
What did I say?
You said, that's kind of fattening, isn't it? That's what you said.
Okay.
And I said, not if you don't eat it all the time. So, anyway, that became the opening for him.
Were y'all tripping that you were both from New Orleans?
No, we didn't know at that time.
When did you figure that out?
I'm going to tell you. So the very next thing, I'm okay. She smiled. I'm like, okay, well, that went well. So what can I say besides, what's your sign? I refused to say that because that was the going thing then. And so the next thing I said to her, I said, excuse me, but where are you from? And she looked at me.
Weird, because for some reason, that week, everywhere I went, people were saying, where are you from?
Oh.
Where are you from? Where are you from? I'm thinking, why are people asking me where am I from? You know, because I've always been that different
Yeah.
person. And so when he asked me that, I was like, what? Okay, here's another person asking me where am I from. I said, I'm from New Orleans. He's like, you from New Orleans?
Aw.
So am I. And he had his class ring on.
Yeah.
Almost broke my nose. Like,
Trying to look,
yeah, he's like,
look.
like, I didn't believe him. And
Yeah.
I believed him. I mean,
Yeah.
why would he lie? You
Yeah.
know, so from
It's
that
easily
point,
verifiable.
right, from that point on, well, not in those days, it wasn't easily verifiable.
I'm saying, like, New Orleans is so small.
right,
Somebody's
but it
gonna
wasn't
know.
like you can go on the internet.
Yeah,
Like,
and
No,
look,
but
yeah.
New Orleans is one of these places where somebody, if you're from here or you
Yeah.
live
That's
here long
true.
enough, everybody, you're connected to
right,
everybody.
which we later found out
Yeah,
that we were
in
connected
more ways
in many
than one,
ways.
yeah.
And so, what was I saying?
You saying that he was showing you that?
Yeah, he showed me his ring, and so now the ice is broken.
Yeah.
So now he feels like, oh, this is a home girl.
Yeah.
And you know, I took care of. I've been in LA for so long; it didn't matter to me whether I met somebody from New Orleans or. It wasn't as fascinating
To
for
you,
me
yeah.
as it was for him. And so we started talking, and and everything. And so finally, both our orders were ready. So we went out to the parking lot, and I'm sitting in the car, halfway in the car. We're still talking and stuff. We just talking, like we've been knowing each other because we start finding out connections, different people, and all that. And I'm thinking, ice cream is melting. And so I asked him, I said, well, I live right around the corner. I said, you want to come over?
Well, he thought it was going down.
Yeah, but he was a gentleman.
No, I said no. I said, but then you invited me to a party, right?
Yeah, so I invited him to this party in Marina Del Rey, as a matter of fact. Right. That was a hangout back in the day of the hip, cool crowd. I was.
I'm fine.
And he said he was going to think about it. He said, I might do that. And for some reason, I never heard from him again. So, I went to the party, had fun like I do. And
then it was like the next week I called you.
Yeah, he called me. This is a funny story. Because he told me he had a roommate the night we talking in the parking lot. So I'm like, okay. So then we're talking on the phone. He mentioned something about his roommate Spider.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I know a guy named Spider. But Spider was like much older.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that was his roommate. He's like, yeah, my roommate Spider.
But you were both from New Orleans. You didn't think he could know this?
I had been away from New
Orleans.
Orleans.
Oh, and you had met Spider in L.A.
No,
right.
Yeah, I met Spider in L.A.
He
was more like my older sibling.
Yeah.
And so I said, oh, I know a guy named Spider. And so then he said, yeah, my roommate Spider, he works at the post office. And I'm like, I know a man named Spider who works at the post office.
Because Spider worked with
my brother.
Junior.
My brother, yeah. And so he's like, yeah, I said, the man I know, his name is Spider. He's working at the post office, and he used to be a boxer. And Nancy's like, yeah, my roommate. He's like, yeah, my roommate Spider works at the post office, used to be a boxer.
We still haven't connected the dots.
Because the last person I'm thinking of is somebody that's like 20 years older.
Yeah.
Right. His roommate.
But mine, like, come on, y'all.
We went through all of that.
Yeah, we went through all of that. Then we realized we're talking about.
Wait a minute, one more. And I said, because my roommate, he writes music on the side.
I thought you were going to say he used to be a boxer or something like that. Didn't Spider box?
I said that he used to be a boxer.
Oh, yeah.
My roommate Spider used to be who works at the post office.
He makes music.
Yeah. And I said, wait a minute. The Spider I know, he used to write songs for me. And then that's when we figured out, we're talking about this song. Then I was confused.
Like, why do you have this
such an older
man?
Person,
yeah, right. She didn't know the whole story.
Right.
That's what I told her. I said,
that's his sister's ex. Yeah.
Right, because they had just separated.
Oh, okay.
And he needed a place to stay. He asked if he could stay with me.
Is that the way it went? I thought you went to stay with him.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I had the apartment.
I
He called me up and said, hey, man, because he called me Champ. Hey, Champ.
Shout out Spider, R.I.P.
Your sister put me out. I'm like, huh? Like, yeah, man. So I know you got a 2-bedroom over there.
Yeah, his sister found the 2-bedroom.
So this is the place. Yeah,
I said, yeah, man.
I said, get the place and then kicking his ass out.
I said, yeah, come on, man. But it was kind of. I guess you could have said that was kind of weird, though, wasn't it?
I think it was all planned.
You think so?
Yeah, it was a setup.
That's a 2-bedroom. I'm getting ready to get rid of his ass. I think I'll just kick Lance. Lance has got the place. He got extra room, so at least I won't feel so bad. He got some place to go.
Plus it helped with the expenses and everything. Cause we split the expenses,
It helped everybody.
Yeah,
So then when we realized it was the same person, that's what she told me. She actually had met Spider like 10 years before.
10 years before.
10 years before that?
Yeah. Wow. He used to write songs for me. As a singer, he used to take me around to different notables in Los Angeles. Him and my brother, like H.B. Barnum. Is it H.B. Barnum? Is that
the circus guy?
No, H.B. What was that?
H.B. Barnum is the circus guy.
Barnum and Bailey. That's what you talking about.
No, H.B. Barnum is not the circus.
It's not?
Guy. No.
Thought it was.
Well, anyway,
We'll Google check it.
Yeah. He did a lot with Reverend James Cleveland.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be wrapping it up, but I would like to end on a positive note. I haven't quite outlined what the run of this show is going to be, the layout of the podcast. But being that it's been a pretty crazy year, to say the least, we're filming this. This is end of October 2020. So, no matter how far along from this date you're listening, everybody at this point should know the year 2020 was quite an interesting one globally. Do you guys have any thoughts or visions for what you would like this next year to be? I know you both have lived through tumultuous times.
Many things.
So I know that this is not new,
No,
but this is new, right?
This is new.
I'm just saying, like, in terms of major things happening in the world, this is not new.
Nothing that has preceded this is like this.
Yeah.
It's almost like I feel like I'm living in a reality show or a movie.
Yeah.
It's just really, really strange and bizarre. All the different you couldn't script this better than it actually is.
Yeah.
It's just like, and if you did, the people would say, you took it to money. They would
Like,
be
this is ridiculous.
You got too many things going on here, but there's so many things. You got racial injustice.
No, let's start with you got a real estate mogul turn reality TV star turn president.
Failure at real estate.
But I'm just saying, like,
inherited
what a trust fund baby, bankrupted real estate mogul, turn reality TV show star, turn president of the United States.
See, that in itself is not so bad. So
that's not so bad.
No, I don't mean to say bad. That's not so fantastic because you remember we lived in California.
Well,
and
yeah,
the Terminator was our governor.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, how the hell this man goes from being the Terminator to being the governor of the state of California? And then before that, preceding that, we had Ronald Reagan, who was a movie star. So we weren't, the fact that he did something else before he got into that, but we're talking about the highest office in this country.
The acting thing, though, is like, I would think if there's going to be any entertainment person turned politician, it would be an actor. So that's not fantastic.
Because they were actors.
But at least Reagan was a governor before he became president.
Right.
So at least he had political experience.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And Arnold Schwarzenegger was up against who? Porn stars and Gary Coleman and
Jerry Brown.
Jerry Brown, right.
Who was considered very liberal at the time. But when Arnold Schwarzenegger became governor, I was like, I was living here by that time, and I was like, what the hell is going on in California?
Okay, so let me just ask you, what is your vision for the future? 2021. Yeah, let's start there.
Because of my life experience, I know that it's always darkest before the light. And so I think that everybody's going to come out of this eventually better because we have dug deep into the pot of racial injustice. It's out on the table now. It's always been out on the table, but it's even more so now. And the thing that I'm happy to see is the younger generations saying, there's a saying that says, I'm not my ancestors. They are not their ancestors. They are actively. We did too in the 70s, but they have taken it to another level. We handed them, it's like a relay race.
Yeah.
We passed the baton to y'all. This is what we did. Now it's y'all turn to take it from there until we get to the end goal. Yeah. And I know that we will. And it makes me feel good because I know that my grandchildren are going to live a whole different reality. We're going to have...
They already are.
Well, I mean, as far as when they get older.
Oh, okay. I'm like, they already are.
It's better and better and better. So I see us really coming out of this like a new penny.
Okay.
I hope anyway. But that's the way I feel.
Okay.
How about the similarities to the movement now with young people reminds me a lot of the civil rights movement when you had people of all colors who joined the civil rights movement for equality.
Yeah.
And now it's refreshing for me to see particularly young white kids checking
their parents
and their grandparents on social media about their racism and their bigotry.
You don't think this was happening then? You don't think there was a
we didn't see it
Yeah,
then.
it just wasn't documented,
yeah,
right?
we just
I mean,
don't know.
there's white people who got disowned,
Right.
Oh, that's true.
you know, just for life choices, whether
Yeah.
it be.
But it's good to know that, you know, because here living in the South,
Yeah.
I see pervasive tradition. You know, it's like if you live in a Republican home, the children are going to be Republican, the
Yeah.
grandchildren. They don't see anything other than that,
Yeah.
you know. But now it's great for me to see up close and personal that, you know, some young people understand and they reject the old thinking of their parents because I'm telling you, living in the South is a trip.
Yeah, it is.
It really is
It
a
really
trip.
is.
Deep rooted and deep seated ideas are still prevalent here in the South.
What I'm finding though is because I Zoom coach a lot of young actors, and in talking to them, a lot of them have severed relationships with family members because they basically have saying you're wrong on this.
Yeah.
And it's sad in one instance, but I'm just glad to see that like-minded people, intelligent people are standing up on the side of what's right and what's wrong, not what's
And thinking for
Democrat
themselves.
or Republican, left or right, liberal or conservative, because what's going on now in this country is a human rights issue. It is nothing else but that.
Right.
I appreciate you guys coming by and sharing a little food and wine and water with me. I appreciate you at _Nixionic_ for manning down the audio. I'll appreciate you more when I listen to the final version and know that it sounds awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Micromanaging.
Oh, yeah.
Are we allowed to give our social media handles?
Yeah. I was gonna say, for those listening, who would like to start? My beautiful mother can be found online on which platform, Mom, and what is your handle?
I'm on Instagram as Queen Zardis. I'm on Facebook as Zardis Nichols. And believe it or not, I finally got a Twitter page, but I don't even think I have one follower.
Oh, okay. All
I'm on
right.
Instagram at Lance E. Nichols, and on Facebook, Lance Nichols. And our production company is on Facebook as Lance Zardis Productions.
That's that combo joint. And if you are abroad and you have no idea how to spell Zardis or land Zardis, that's ZARDIS. But you can find this podcast on Spotify, on YouTube, and on my page at Voice Monet. Thank y'all for listening. We'll check you next time. Peace.